All right, hey guys. Oh, and ladies, let's not forget. This is Philip at thebest3d.com, and I just installed this PowerDirector 12 Lite edition given away by sharewareonsale.com. And the reason I did that is because I already used an earlier version, and I use it a lot. I do a lot of video production, and typically for tutorials. And I wanted to see how similar it is. This is the Lite edition. It's a free giveaway. Installed perfectly, no problems at all. I'm on Windows 10, and I must say I'm impressed. I mean, I've been thinking about upgrading to, the latest is version 14 now, as of today. No, as of a couple of weeks ago. And so going from 11 to 12, I figured might not really be that much of a difference. And I'm about to find out. There are some differences. There are a few good things, and I haven't seen really anything negative yet. So let me just walk through my typical day-to-day, how I do some of the videos, tutorials, and I'll perhaps give you some ideas of what sort of tools are in this Lite Edition free giveaway. So one thing I've just did here is to open a project and delete some of the content because I'm going to populate it with new clips. And there is one clip here already. So first thing I'll do is I'll put that here somewhere. And I like the fact that it really gives you warnings if there are differences between the video formats. In this case, it's a very slight difference just on the timing. I have a clip that was recorded with the same tool that I'm using to record this tutorial right now, which is the Microsoft encoder from Expression Encoder, which is another great free video tool. And there are some commercial options with it if you want to produce MP4s, but I always render out to WMV anyway. So here is a quick mention of the difference between the video clip that I'm putting on my timeline here and the frame rate that I have on the project. So I'm going to OK that to allow it to go in and adjust the settings of whichever, either the project or, if I want to go in, this is certainly something you want to do to get an idea of the depth of this project, this program. This is version 12. It obviously has upgrade options to 13. That's not the latest version though. You can go to version 14, and it's definitely worth it. It's been a great program for me that I've used for many years now, and you can see lots of tutorials that I've created and videos, not just tutorials, at youtube.com/pdhowler. That's the PD as in Project Dog Waffle, Howler. And there's about 500 or so tutorials, 600 maybe by now. And so there's lots of options to explore. And I'm just going to go with the flow here and find one more video clip here, import one more media. One thing I really like about this is that there's this quick access where it finds you quickly access to some videos that you had explored, or images you just created, or some other things that you might have waiting for you to load. So I'm going to go back to the prior remembered folder and load this video. This is one that I created yesterday with my dog waffle program. So I'm going to go and just put that in here. And again, it's a different frame rate. That one was 30 frames versus 29.97. Then I'm going to go grab this and just get it to adjust until it snaps. I like this automatic snapping or alignment here. And do a quick first analysis of what it looks like when I play it. Now, it also has some additional tracks down here that I had created in this project earlier before I copied it for this one. So this track I might want to disable for now. I'm going to turn that off so that I don't get slowed down by that, and I can focus on really just the one track at hand here, which is, and you can see, you can zoom in here, horizontally scroll. So here's the layer that has my current video, and we're flying into this canyon, and really this tutorial is actually showing how to do that, how to create the elevation map for the canyon, how to create the coloration, the stratification layers, and then also how to actually animate that, render it and animate it with Puppy Ray, which is one of the modules, one of the filters in Project Dog Waffle. It's a ray tracer. Actually, strictly speaking, it's a ray caster. It's a slightly different technology. And so what I'm going to do here is now focus on the video that has the soundtrack, because one of the things I often do is I record it with the sound, with the microphone on, and then I realize that maybe there's a little bit of background noise, and I need to do a little bit of cleanup, and you'll find some tutorials on how I do typically that cleanup, but I'll just go through that step here just to see how well that works with version 12. See if all my tools that I need are in here. All right, so I'm gonna go, and first of all, what I would do is right. Oh, before I do anything else, I'll just play it. Hey, this is Philip again at thebest3d.com, back from vacation. Yeah, so it's there. It has the audio. It's a little bit low volume. I might increase that. I don't know if I accidentally had that lower. And going to explore a little bit, and that might not be loud enough. I really like the volume. See how it's a very low waveform here? I like the volume to go all the way to the max without saturating. I don't want it to be distorted, but it's important to have the ability to go up to the max in case you are in a noisy environment and you still need to hear it, or you are just with a set of maybe a headset or a speaker that's not very powerful and you just need that extra boost. So I don't like to leave it to chance. I like to have that waveform all the way close to the max, not totally at the max, because that tends to be a bit distorted when it starts breaking into the barrier there. So what I'll do is I'll right click here and unlink the two. Unlink the video from the audio, right? Or the audio from the video. Anyway, unlink the two, and then click outside to deselect them, because both of them were still selected. And so now I can select one or the other, and I'm going to go select the audio track and simply right click on that and edit the audio. Now I don't expect to have any fancy tools here like Power Tools. These are PowerDirector. Those are great tools. I haven't actually used those, but they make separate tools at Cyberlink for audio editing, which probably are definitely worth their money as well. I just find this one, the wave editor that's included with it, to be perfectly fine. So what that's going to do is switch over to to this program for editing the audio just as a wave track, and then once that's done, I can send it back. And here I am, obviously in Cyberlink, the download. Looking at is this a good download? I'm going to put a little note here eventually. And point you guys to that video. So let's see if I have. Nope, that's not it. There's my video. That's the program I was using to do all that. Okay, so maybe it's this one here. Nope, that's not it either. Cyberlink. That's this. That's the wave. Oh, there's the wave editor. There you go. Okay, so here's the wave editor. I was looking for the PowerDirector. That Windows is closed right now because it switched it over to the audio track and opened that in wave editor. All right, so in the wave editor, first thing I'll do is I'll see how low that volume is. And I don't care necessarily that it be stereo. I mean, I only had one microphone. What the hell is that with stereo? How different is the left side to the right side from my microphone? It's such a small device, but that's okay. I can live with that. And what I'll do is I'll go and look at the volume here. It's 0 decibel is at the top. We're down to negative 18, negative 12, so we can definitely boost it up another 12, add a 12 to that. So I'm going to go to the boost function here, and later I'm going to go to the noise reduction. Those are the only two functions I really care about and I use routinely. I might experiment with others occasionally. But the boost is going to be the first one here, and I'm going to go just boost that to 12. That's the functions I'm used to from version 11. And so seeing this in version 12 Lite edition means that it's a good combination, good offering. I really like it. So at this point, I'm applying the effect for boosting that volume to a higher level, and it's probably going to go to about -6, maybe -3, and I might need to do that again to go up a little higher. I just don't want to get it too close to the decibels reaching the top here at 0 decibel. See here, I'm at negative. Yeah, there's something like -3, negative something like that. So I think I'm going to keep that. Let's play it. Hey, this is Philip again at thebest3d.com, back from vacation. Okay, so that's good. Now the next thing, normally I record in a fairly quiet environment, but occasionally somebody in the house is playing some music or running around. The cats are jumping all over the place. So I need to do a little bit of noise reduction. There may be a fan, especially down here in San Diego, Southern California. It's hot sometimes, so we have the fans running, and that's a humming that you hear in the background. So I'm going to go and use the noise reduction. That's my second function that I typically use as well. It's not wind blowing at the microphone. It's not too much clickety-click noise unless somebody's in the kitchen and handling some glasses and silverware. Then that would be the type of noise to find. But usually it's the fan and the constant humming of something. So I'm going to go stay with stationary, and I like to give it about 20 or 30 decibel to say, here, get down, get out of here. And so that might be necessary, not always. This one probably didn't need it. I'm just doing this for the fun of it and experiment with it and see how well that works. It's still about the same speed that I'm used to in my prior paid version 11. So now I'm running this Lite Edition 12, thanks to the offering through sharewareonsale.com. And I have to say kudos, congratulate Shareware on Sale and Cyberlink for making this version available. And I understand why, because they basically are looking for new customers to then buy the upgrade, and I might be one of them. I might actually end up doing that because I just like them and I like this product. I use this, once you've used, and I use Premiere and some other tools too. I use some other high-end tools in other settings, but here at home with my Project Dog Waffle projects, I find this one just really suitable, good price range, and it has the tools that I want, and then some. I mean, I've seen some stuff that's amazing. You can replace a shirt with another shirt. You know what I mean? You have some video footage of some guy maybe standing in front of a blue screen, green screen, or whatnot, or not, just regular setting with regular background. And he is in some sort of a, I don't know, a khaki plaid patterned sweater, and you want to replace it with a plain something dill, a different set, a different look. So there are some tools to recognize the shape of the shirt, boom, and replace it with a different pattern and coloration. You can look it up on YouTube. There's some really amazing stuff in this program too. So we've just done the cleanup of the audio. Hey, this is Philip again at thebest3d.com, and that looks fairly good. So next thing I'll do is I'll just close it. I don't need any of the others. I mean, we could go and experiment there. There's equalizers and that sort of thing. So for instance, if you needed a little bit less on the bass and a little bit more on the mid-tones or the high pitch and so on, you could do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go close this, and they say, hey, hold on, hold your horses. We haven't saved all this yet. You want to save this? Yes, of course. That was my intent. And then so once it saves it, it reopens PowerDirector, right? And it puts it back in there. It replaces the track we used to have in PowerDirector with this one that we now have improved and corrected and cleaned up. So very seamless integration of the two. Very nice. I am having a couple of issues here with it going a little bit slower than usual. I still have this dog waffle running in the background. That's probably why. And I have a few other things. Now, I'm running this on a system with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and I would not recommend you try this on your 3 or 4 gigabytes base system. Right? If you're working with video, you're doing serious memory manipulations. There's a lot of number crunching and also a lot of memory being used. So don't try this on a PC that has just very little to offer in terms of memory. So at this point, we are back here in PowerDirector, and the video obviously has been improved here. You can see it's a much higher volume level, and if we play it, what am I exploring here? Something like a lake, a structure. I want to turn this into a canyon. Okay, so this is the purpose of that tutorial, right? Is to show how this canyon was created from a map, a picture of a lake that I found on, I think it was Google Map, But something you could paint also just easily. Here I went to Malaysia looking at where do some of my friends live near Singapore. Legged dragon. And sometimes these lakes, you have them anywhere you look. Sometimes they don't just look like a plain oval. They have some really fascinating shapes and arms. And sometimes that's an indication that there is um, some a barrage or a dam was put there to block it and actually fill it up with water, right? A valley that might not have had this kind of feature, but now it looks a bit odd or a bit interesting, and it's always interesting to use that for the purpose of creating some tutorials. So that's what I'm doing here. And so, in continuation here, to finish up, what I would also do next, obviously, is to render this, or produce this video. So the next thing to do is, oh yeah, I have some titles also. Let's hold on. The audio here needs to not fade. It needs to stay where it is. And I really don't need to add. Why did I add here? Okay, let's leave it at the bottom. I think that's the difference between version 10 and version 11 and 12, is that this one here has a slightly different scale on that audio track, different from what I'm used to. Anyway, so I'm going to go and grab these two clips here that are almost hiding, move them over to the right, and then I'm going to go and grab this video once more here and put that in the back. And thank you for that quick warning again. And I'm going to go zoom in here to see a little bit more details. All right, so this one here at the very end of the clip, it's selected and then saw the end of the clip. I need to go outside of that clip. And there we go. Oh, it keeps playing. That's why it keeps going back. I need to undo the play mode. There you go. All right, so at this point, I'm going to go probably something like this here. Tell the world. All right, thanks for waffling and howling. All right, so here is the final stages of that tutorial. Obviously, I'm rendering as it's being washed away from rendering this, and then once it's done with the rendering, obviously I would want to actually see the final result here. This one is actually a little bit longer. It's I did some motion interpolated rendering. I'm going to go another one here and do motion interpolation also with PowerDirector. That's a great feature too. So we have that in Dog Waffle, and the original clip was only 3 seconds long, about 100 or so, 4 seconds, 120 something frames. But here is obviously much longer, and I must have about 400 frames. 3 or 400. So I use the motion estimated interpolation, the motion prediction module, to produce intermediate frames that were not rendered but interpolated. And we can do that in PowerDirector too. So I'm going to just show that right here. Right, if this is the original clip, you can right click, or you can use here Power Tools and then say speed, video speed, and you can make it go faster or slower. And when you go slower, you can use a slow motion here. And so this one is not in the lite edition. Okay, well that makes sense. You know, this is definitely a feature that is worth a lot of money. You definitely will probably you'd be expected to shell out a few bucks for that. It's a phenomenal feature. Lots of calculations and computations going on there. Even I know that because we do the same on Dog Waffle. So that's a feature I wouldn't be able to use right now in this lite edition. Now I don't do that a whole lot, right? And if I do need to slow it down, I can still do that with the traditional way, like this here, which is a frame blended interpolation, which for stuff like this might work just fine. Right? Sometimes you don't need really much better than that. So we can live with that, and then we can go. Okay, so now I need to enable that text title track here. Let's go enable this. And tell the world. So here is thanks for waffling and howling. Here is the title that's going through that, and then I have another title here. And then obviously I need some music also. The whole thing is typically much more interesting to listen to or watch if there's some good music. So this one here is just some sort of credits. Dan Ritchie is the author at squirreldome.com. This is myself. And then we have some music, supposedly Dawn of a Greater Day. So I need to go find that. I don't think I have it here yet. No, this is the screen capture audio from after the editing. So I'm going to go and find one more thing here, which is my audio tracks, libraries. Let's see if I have it on the quick access. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to go to libraries, and that would be under music. And under music, I have some shortcuts, and I got some Mike Hutchins. I got some. What do we want on this one? DJ D'Artagnan, I think it was. Dawn of a Greater Day. Now, I could either change the music and then change the text information that shows what the music is. Right here, I'm saying the music is by John Somnitz. That is DJ D'Artagnan. Dawn of a Greater Day happens to be one of my favorites there. The Dark Age of Time is pretty good too. Look at this, you get a little preview here. That's pretty good too. You know what, let's do that. Alright, so that's the thing I like about this is you can navigate through these, and inside the navigator have a quick preview to listen to these to see if that's the one you want. And so I'm going to use the Dark Age of Time as the audio track for this. And so obviously while we are doing the tutorial, we don't need that loud background music, but erosion. All right, so thanks for watching. Somewhere around here is where we want to start feeding it in. So I'm going to go bring this down here into an audio track like this here, or maybe around here, something like that. And then I'll just make sure it's not too high volume at first. Be sure to bookmark us and come back and have fun and tell the world. Right. Thanks for waffling and howling. Okay, so that's still a little bit too loud, and what I'll do is I'll bring it down, bring it up. See how you can grab those curves with the volume level and bring it up eventually to just 0 level. There you go. So here I want to be a little bit subdued, right? And then it suddenly kind of comes up. So perhaps I want this loud volume part. Let's click space. I'm holding the space bar here to start. Let's see if I can find a more interesting part. Well, you know, maybe that was actually at the beginning. So let's try that again and scroll it over here. And howling. There you go. Just about right. All right, and so then we have we need some sort of a transition here also. All right, so something you see here on the left side, you have a bunch of things you can do. Picture in picture, text tool. I'm going to go to the transition room here. Function key F8 will get you there too. And favorites, I don't have anyone here yet, but I'm going to go certainly get my 2D fade. There's my fade, right? So I probably right click here, add to favorite. There you go. That's how easy this thing is. So now I have a fade that I can just go to and don't have to look through. Where is it? Where is it? Right. Same with audio. If I want to fade the audio, there it is, constant gain or constant power. Let's go with constant power. Add that to the favorites. So these are probably the most important transitions that I'm using. There's some barn doors and some other things that I use at times, but you know, that's to get fancy on the video editing as opposed to have some fancy content. So if I want to show some really good content, I just do very simple on the transitions. And this one I'm going to just drag and apply right here between the two, so I get sort of a faded transition between the two. All right. And then at that point, I think we need to also see run and see what that looks like. Tell the world. All right. Thanks for waffling and howling. Okay, so that's that. Now we also have this one here at the very end. So this one I'm going to double click the music. This track here has some animated text credits. and that's another great feature. Oops, there it is. That's another great feature. And so this one is not Dawn of a Greater Day. It's which one was it now? Okay, hold on. Lost that one here. My memory is so short-term memory. Go back to this one here, Dark Age of Time. The Dark Age of Time. All right, so this track, I need to, this one here, I need to edit that because that's where those Dark Age of Time. That's the text I need to put here, not Dawn of a Greater Day, but the Dark Age of Time. All right, so we have a proper text. We have perhaps we can put this down a little bit here. Okay, and here are the different animations for each of those different pieces. Nice little 4-track system here in this case. Save that, and I think we're ready to just play the whole thing. And then at the end we need to fade over or fade out. So I'm going to go back to the transition room. That's this one here, and fade between these two. Now remember, this is a slower one. All right, and then finally fade at the very end. There you go. Now we also need to end the music. Right? The music track is going forever here, it seems. So let's go and find what. How does it end? Well, it doesn't end here. That's for sure. It keeps going for quite a while. So I'm gonna go and actually fade it just around here. Put this there. So I need to clip this here. Split it. There you go. And then select this side and hit the delete key to clear that. So now the rightmost, the end of the clip altogether of this entire project is right here. And I could make that one fade away, constant power, basically have it fade softly like this. There you go. All right, so now there's only one more thing, because this ending is done now, but we need to look at the beginning where we also have a title. Right down here, I have a title, and I need also some music on that one. So let's go back to the main collection of media, Dark Age of Time. Here we come again, and let's see. Maybe I should be the right value. Shift click on that, you'll get closer to that, but you'll get to also how. Let's go temporarily silence this one here, right? We can really listen on the audio track now. That's a nice little beat there. I'm gonna go put some of that right at the beginning. So go to that place, trim only, and then move that to the left. And we probably don't need a whole lot of that, just at the beginning before we start hearing my voice. And then zoom in, and there we are. And so when this one here is where we start talking, and so let's listen to it again. And so at that point, we'll need to just simply let this guy fade away, right? Grab it here and fade it down to nothing. Okay, so then that way we don't need any of this. Let's see what that sounds like. Hey, this is Philip again at thebest3d.com, back from vacation and going to... And so I might leave that on for a little while longer, because it's a nice little beat after all. You know, we thought we came here to learn some graphic, and instead we get to enjoy some dance music. So, so let's see, maybe we can just beat this a little bit, and then we tell it, come on, beat it. All right, let's go like this, so it just gradually fades away. It doesn't matter where you go. Yeah, you can still hear it. If you see lakes, they sometimes come in really great shape, but it's going away very subtly, and we won't even notice. Okay, so last thing, I promise that's the last thing, is to go over to the left, and at the very beginning, zoom in so we can see the the video track here that has my titles. Right, so that one's similar to the ones at the beginning, but this one came from the original, an earlier project. Now this is Dibble Dabble Stuff. I need to rephrase this. Dibble Dabble Stuff. Dibble Dabble Stuff, and it is part 2. All right. This one's a tutorial. Part 2. Canyon lens. All right. 3D landscapes with PD Halo powered by Project Dogwell. Dibble Dabble Stuff. Part 2 Canyon lens. Let's go and play that. Let's go right here. Looking good. Looking mighty good. We might want to have the sound not kick in so suddenly, but kind of fade in. So again, let's go to that transition and find the audio track with the music, which is this one here, Dark Age of Time. And you could do that right here. You could fade it like this, setting the volume here, and just fade it in. All right. So that's one way to do that, and that way it doesn't just start with the full volume. Undo, Control Z. Instead, another option is to just take that filter. I have it in my favorites now, and that transition rather, and that transition will take care of the same effects. And if it's not going fast enough, I can grab this right edge and move it a little bit closer like this. So I think that's pretty much it. I have I'm feeling we're done with this. Let's play it quick here in the preview. Oh, not that much. Something like this. Okay. All right. You know what? One thing I'd like to do is that title. I say Canyon lens, but I think it'd be nice. It would do it justice by saying what's being used. Canyon lens in Puppy Ray. Puppy Ray GPU. All right, why? What's that about? Well, Puppy Ray is the name of this dog-themed ray tracer that generates this landscape, that renders it, and GPU because there's 2 versions in the program. There is a CPU version, and then there is the GPU version, and that's the one we're using here, just to get it done a little bit faster, that is. All right, I think we have the essence of the project here. The tutorial is ready to be rendered, and that's really what's left to do on it. So I'm gonna go and save this, save it. It actually has autosave. You know, this is really a full-fledged video editing tool. It's very professionally made. It's really nicely done, and it's very fast also. So one thing I'm going to do now is to render that, and that's where I expect to perhaps see some differences also between these earlier versions I am using so far and now this one. Going from 11 here to version 12, and I click produce, that's where you, no, that's not where you go to the farmer's market to buy some produce. This is the verb, to produce, to render, to create, to finalize, right? To put it out into one of your favorite formats. Now, there's AVI, MPEG, MPEG-4. Those are great for live video. WMV is really the one I'm using, and pretty much the only one I'm using. And for each of those, though, you will see some presets. So take some time to look for what presets you really need. And you can usually find a plus here to create your own profile, your own preset. And then you're just set for life, right? Then you create and you use what you want. And that's really the issue here, is that I think the presets may not have the 30 frames per second. This is progressive 25p or 24. So it's the right resolution. You see some at 720. There it is, 7 megabits per second, megapixels or mbps, megabits per second. But I don't think I have a 30, so I might need to edit that. See, this one here is 720 there. 1280 by 720 is my target at this time, and I got it at 24, got it in 25, and I really need it at 30. So what I'm gonna need is to add a preset, and I don't see that here. All right, so I'm kind of stuck. It's not the end of the world, though. I can certainly live with that. It's the light edition. Maybe that was an oversight, or maybe that was intentional. I'm gonna see what that does. 25 frames a second over watching it over the web video. It's gonna be fine. So I'm gonna go and say choose that, and then I need to also tell it where to save it, and that's gonna be on the same drive that I have here and on the same folder. And so this is going to be Dibble Dabbles um, part 2. Dibble Dabble stuff, not Dibble Dabble stuff part 2. All right, going to be a .wmv and go. And so here it is. You've got some full rendering happening, and it's going to be a matter of a few minutes, maybe half an hour to render this. This is actually a fairly long one, so it might be a little bit longer. And one thing I really like about this too is that sometimes I do this in the morning before I go to work, and once that's launched, I know it'll run for about an hour, but I'm off for 8 hours or 9 or 10, and then I come back. I don't want that computer to still be running and adding some charges to my electric bill. Right. So one thing I do is I check this option here to shut down the computer after production. So once it's done, it may take an hour, it may take two, as long as Windows didn't reboot or shut it down or do an update or anything like that. As long as everything is still there, it will just shut it down because it's done rendering and saved it. So definitely a very, very professional environment. Has a lot of power, a lot of features, and even this light edition, I would say you've got to give this a try. There are a lot of things I never touched that tells me there's even much more there under the hood. I've only touched the tip of the iceberg, the most essential parts for me that I need to create my tutorials, publish them, and then upload them to YouTube, because that's why I'm using this WMV format. You can use MP4, you can use a couple of others. Most of them will work on YouTube too. WMV for me works nicely when I just want to play it locally here as well. Oh, I know by these days I could go with the MP4, and it might be smaller files and sometimes better quality. So far, I haven't really hit that issue, so it's fine. And whatever the thing is, really, whatever you find, whatever works for you, that's what you want to use. And it might be a different format. By the time you send it up to YouTube, it's going to do its own thing and resample it into smaller resolutions so that devices with low bandwidth can watch it at a lower resolution, all that stuff. So in a way, you don't really need to worry too much about what the output format really is, because it's going to be something different by the end, by the time people really see it. Um, you want something that's close to lossless, or that is good enough in quality that it's not going to suffer further with re-encoding. So yeah, use something like MP4, or use with the H.264 encoder, or use WMV with a fairly high bandwidth or bitrate, at least 6 megapixels, I would say, when you're at 1280 by 720, maybe 10. Beef it up there so that it can have all the bandwidth it needs, all the pixel throughput, and it won't suffer from low resolution pixelation or that sort of thing. All right, well, that's that. My first experience really with PowerDirector 12 Lite Edition, as it was given away through sharewareonsale.com, and I love these guys. In fact, we've worked with them on promotions with Project Dogwolf, the one that you've seen here in this tutorial. Not this version, a slightly different version called PD Particles. Particle 9 was promoted or given away that way last month, and in about a month for Thanksgiving, we'll have something similar. Keep an eye on that. That will probably be based on PD Artist, which doesn't do animation but has that 3D rendering with the landscapes and foliage brushes, of course, and all that stuff as well for painting. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I hope I didn't bore you too much. No, I know I did. So, Philip Steiger here at thebest3d.com signing out, and we'll talk to you soon.